Hello everyone, it's me, Clayton. I just finished watching the first two episodes of The Proud Family, Louder and Prouder. Now, for people who grew up in the early 2000s, you're probably familiar with the Proud Family animated series. It was certainly one of the shows that defined many people's childhood during the, you know, during the great TV show era of the Disney Channel. Along with being one of the first shows I can think of, at least in the animated format, that had an all-black main cast. So, there are certainly a lot of issues for the showrunners to handle nearly 20 years later that the show thankfully does work with, as it works as essentially a sequel to the original series. Not that the original series had much in the way of continuity outside of the movie and a couple of plot lines, but hey, it's nice to see certain characters evolve and not to just reboot all the way back to the start. So, how did the first two episodes fare? I'd say they do pretty well. Basically, these first two episodes spend a good portion of their runtime getting us caught up with certain characters that we remember from the original. You know, Penny, Dijonay, La Cienega, Zoe, Oscar, Trudy, etc. And it also introduces some new characters who are going to be major players later on, such as Maya and Kavi. Maya is essentially kind of a mixed bag for me. For one instance, I like the fact that she's not completely infallible, because I hate when characters are basically made to be completely perfect from the start to the point where there's nothing funny that can be done with them. But some funny things have been done with her, and she's been shown that she can be just as that her nihilistic and overly cynical approach can sometimes be a bad thing as well as actually being a helpful thing, which is probably why I think they had 2 episodes to premiere this whole series. As far as her brother goes, he kind of just seems like he kind of seems in the background most of the time, mostly playing on his Nintendo Switch lookalike and occasionally an Oculus Rift. Just if you had to know if this series takes place in the 2020s, because they make that very clear throughout, but at the same time, it doesn't feel like they missed out on the stuff that made the original series rather entertaining. All the slapstick is still here, the more absurd scenes are still here, and the decent life lessons for the children in the audience are still here. It feels like the same writing team hasn't lost their touch. It just feels like certain characters have evolved to what we imagine them as if they were older. Michael, for example, probably has the biggest change out of the cast, but I actually think he stands out a bit more here than he did in the original series. And his new voice actor clearly is having the time of his life in the role. On top of that, there are a couple of other new characters who were introduced in the trailer that haven't exactly gotten a lot of screen time yet, such as Zachary Quinto's Barry, who I imagine we'll see more of him later on in the series, but I have no idea how the rest of the season plotline will go. But as it stands, the first 2 episodes are a decent return to form for the series, while also introducing us to some new aspects that the series can cover now that it's in a new decade. So I think I'll cover the series weekly as well, because I certainly hope that this is a series that can respect the original while also being its own thing. So until next time.